Hi, you guys. I just wanted to do a little update on Tate. Unfortunately, Tate is having a really rough day. He's had a really rough week, and unfortunately, he probably has a rough couple of weeks ahead of him still. Since our last video, he has had more seizures. He's been to his vet, and he also ended up in the emergency vet again. He had an episode of cluster seizures, he suffers from cluster seizures, which is essentially just multiple seizures in a row. We have medication. It's called cluster buster medication that we give him after a seizure to help prevent another seizure. Unfortunately, we haven't had any luck controlling multiple seizures at home. And if he has too many seizures in the same day, he has to go to the emergency vet. So we took him in there. They loaded him with phenobarbital. Basically, loading him just means that he had IV infusions of it, of high doses, to get it into his system quickly, build it up into his system to stop that seizure activity, and that worked. He didn't have another seizure after that. They did add that to his regular medication protocol, so now he's on 2 regular daily seizure medications. The medication phenobarbital, it has a good reputation as far as it works very well to control seizures. However, the acclimation period is really, really intense. For a couple of days, he could not stand up by himself at all. It causes hind end weakness. And so he basically just had like no control over his back legs. And G had to like pick him up. We have a couple of steps to go outside into the backyard, and he needed to be carried down the steps. Thankfully, G was able to take a little bit of time off work, so he was home with us for 4 days doing all the heavy lifting. Unfortunately, he had to go back to work. So Tate and I are on our own today. I will say the rear end problems, they're getting a tiny bit better every single day. He is able to stand by himself most of the time. Today, he might need like a little bit of help, or some help positioning his back legs and feet to get him in the right position so that he can stand up. He walks like he's drunk, essentially. He's just very, very clumsy, and he's fallen over multiple times. We did get area rugs, and we're actually waiting on another big one for right here that will hopefully be here soon, because we have hardwood everywhere, and so he's sliding out and stuff a lot. We have little paw pads and some other things, but he needs more help. Other side effects he's dealing with are like anxiety and restlessness. He had a really rough night last night. He was up pretty much all night, and a lot of crying, which is absolutely heartbreaking. We've just been giving him a lot of love and attention. You can see he's resting comfortably right now, which I'm really happy for. But we're getting used to the fact that he has to be supervised at all times. This is actually G's bed right now. G is still sleeping in the living room with him, which he's been doing since Tate's very first seizure. I sleep in the bedroom, which is literally like right there. But Tate, normally he goes kind of back and forth between right here in the living room and in the bedroom. So we want to make sure one of us is always right there in case he has a seizure. We do have like emergency medications that we have to give him at the first sign of a seizure, and that helps stop the seizure immediately. It's incredibly important, especially for him, because I think I mentioned in a previous video, but he did have an 8-minute seizure. Anything over 5 minutes is just extremely dangerous. They go without oxygen and they overheat during seizures. So, you know, those longer seizures, they can die. They can have really severe brain damage. I feel like we got incredibly lucky with his 8-minute seizure. We've only noticed a couple really small changes after that seizure. He's a little bit clumsier than normal. Nothing crazy. I mean, besides him being on these new medication, but you know, just a really mild kind of a gait change. He had some changes that were good as far as he loves fish now. He's always hated fish, and now he can't get enough of it, which is fantastic. I make him a little salmon fillet every morning, a little crispy skin salmon, and he absolutely loves it. And those omegas are just fantastic for his brain. So I'm happy about that. He's had a few little behavioral changes as well, but right now, nothing that we're too concerned about. Let's see what we are doing for him. As far as diet goes, Tate was already on a homemade diet, but we made just a couple little changes to make it more like a neuro diet, which essentially means less carbs, more omegas, and more lean proteins. He still gets chicken because that's his favorite, but we've added a lot of fish, and he gets turkey. We're doing MCT oil, and he is going to be seeing a holistic vet in a couple days. They're going to be starting him on CBD. We actually would have started him on CBD already, but our vet wanted us to get it from the holistic vet because the medications that he's on and his condition might require a different type of CBD or a dosage that is not like a normal recommended dosage. So that's why we're getting it through a holistic vet specifically. And we're going to see what else they suggest as well. He needs to get a brain MRI. Unfortunately, it is almost $6,000. Everything with these big guys are just so expensive. Right now, his regular daily medications are a few $100s a month. His CBD will probably be about $250 to $300 a month. And then, of course, we have emergency medications, the cluster buster medications that he takes for 72 hours after a seizure. And then, of course, combined with vet care and the fact that he's needed to go to the emergency vet so many times is just, I hate talking about money, but it's stressful. Like the emergency vet, we never get under $1,000. And that's just if they treat and release him. When he needs to be admitted, for loading of medications with observation and other stuff, almost $4,000. I did just set up a GoFundMe for Tate. I hate asking for help, but we really want to get him this MRI. And I'll say after a year of chemo with mayhem, and then all of his foot and all of this stuff, we are really struggling. We want to make sure that we get him the absolute best care, that he has everything he needs, and any help we could get will just mean the world to us. We're getting, I don't even want to say we're getting used to it, because we never left Tate alone very much, but that's something that we're kind of coming to terms with, that he can never be left alone again. Somebody always has to be home with him. Like if he were to get up right now and go to the bedroom, I would go in the bedroom with him. Like we have to have eyes on him all the time. If you're home alone, you have to go to the bathroom. The door has to stay open. So that has taken some getting used to. I haven't really been working in about a week. I've just been really focused on him. We're also trying to kind of control his stress levels. Stress can be a definite seizure trigger. Normally, like, the lights are on right now for filming, but normally we're keeping the lights low. We are keeping the house quiet, everything calm, so that he stays peaceful. It's not just stress that can trigger it, but excitement too. He was so upset that G had to go back to work. He was just crying all morning, kind of frantic and really upset. So I was terrified all morning that he was going to end up having seizures because of it. So we're really trying to limit how often one of us leaves the house. I had to go to the grocery store the other day, and Tate completely lost it. And I mean, that's, with G home comforting him and everything. So we're just, unless it's absolutely urgent, we're not going anywhere. We're going to be doing just grocery delivery, DoorDash, whatever, to stay home with him. And I mean, that's something that will continue. No matter like how well controlled his seizures ever get, it will never be safe to leave him unsupervised. If we ever need to want to go out to dinner together or do anything, we'll have to have somebody come and stay with Tate, and they'll have to, be shown how to administer his emergency medications, which are unfortunately rectally. I don't know that I'll trust somebody else to keep an eye on him. And just if something happened, like, I want to make sure that I'm here. So I may never leave my house again. Who knows? As far as getting his seizures under control, so far it's been really difficult. Like I said, the cluster medication that we have has not worked. We've tried a couple different ones. He had a really horrendous reaction to one. The other one didn't work. The one that we have right now, he has not a great reaction to either. It's not as bad as the first one, but we're hoping to have some changes once he's acclimated to the phenobarbital to get something that will work a little bit better. Our idea of well-controlled and the medical community's idea of well-controlled are miles apart. Their goal for Tate is to have one seizure a month. They consider that very well-controlled. I don't want Tate to have one seizure a month. I don't want Tate to have one seizure a year. But, the once a month is the goal that they're going for. I'm really hoping that we can find the right medication combination. It does take a little bit of work to try different things. A lot of dogs end up on like 4 different medications. He's on 2 right now. So it's going to be a process to find the right things. But I'm hoping that with the right meds, the right holistic and diet support and supplements, all of that kind of stuff, he'll do well. Supplement wise, like I said, he's going to be starting the CBD in a couple of days here. He's on MCT oil. He is getting fish oil, and he's also on a liver protectant, which is very expensive, but phenobarbital causes liver damage. He is going to be getting lab work routinely to get his phenobarbital levels checked to make sure his dosages are correct. But he'll also be getting wellness panels every few weeks to check his liver function. And that's something that both the vet and us are, very aware of. And we're going to make sure that we do everything we can to prevent other issues from this medication. But if the benefits didn't outweigh the risks, this is 100% not a medication we would be using. But we feel like it is going to give him the best shot of having his seizures controlled. Like, every single seizure that he has is a risk to him. So we really need to try to minimize the frequency and duration of that. Honestly, I can say this has been one of the most stressful, terrifying things I have been through. I thought going through cancer with mayhem was hard, which it was. This is a very different kind of hard. Watching him actively seize is like the most terrifying, helpless feeling you could imagine. We're just worried all the time. Like every single time he's anywhere in the house, you're looking around, like if he were to start seizing, is he going to hurt himself on, I'm looking at the cabinet there. Could he hurt his back on that? Could he, all of that kind of stuff that just, it makes it hard. I don't know how people get used to this and deal with it. I know that we probably will get used to it. But right now it's been a really difficult journey so far. We're doing the best that we can. It's exhausting. Tate has not been sleeping well, so we haven't been sleeping well. But G and I are doing, I feel like, a really great job kind of balancing his care. When G's at work, I'm actively with Tate all day, taking care of him. And then kind of as soon as G gets home from work, he like immediately takes over so that I can rest, do whatever I need to do. And like I said earlier, he's sleeping out here in the living room with Tate. So Tate has been staying out here mostly, but he's awesome. G's awesome. He's letting me sleep all night so that I have the energy and patience and everything to handle Tate by myself during the day, even though he's having to work all day too. I have really been trying to educate myself. My knowledge level's right here. I need it to be over here. I've joined like a lot of seizure groups. I've been talking to people in those groups. I've been doing research on epilepsy. It's just crazy how many little triggers there are that you would never even think of. Like Glade plugins. I've always had them in our house. Like we have dogs. I want our house to smell nice. Those can trigger seizures. Like scented candles, even personal products, like scented lotions and things can trigger them. The little insect plug-in repellents, they like emit a little frequency. Those can trigger seizures. I got Tate a bunch of ground turkey the other day because turkey is on the list of foods that he should have right now. And then I was reading, like, don't give them ground turkey because it has rosemary extract. I looked, and sure enough, our ground turkey had rosemary extract. Rosemary is also a seizure trigger, so he can't eat any of that. But it's just all of those things. Like, you have to look at everything. It was a huge eye-opener about what is in our food. Like his meat, we pretty much have to get it all fresh from the butcher. It, like a lot of the bagged, like frozen chicken and things like that, they have added sodium and other things that he cannot have at all. It's like really important right now. So that has been a challenge as well. But I know that we love Tate more than anything. We can do this. I know that it's just really hard. All right, guys, I guess that is it. I'm probably forgetting stuff. I'm like really, really exhausted, but we just wanted you guys to know what was going on with Tate right now, and we'll see you in the next one.